Ghana, the John Dramani Mahama, one the president of the Republic of Ghana. Na there was a nipa mebi na tiase ne say enya de ope na obinya ti komoni pa enya de ope na wo binya enka de ope na obinya enka wo ka mukomu ana obu ho ansa muko na dane saadin na afa wo de ade udokono ti komoni pa enya de ope na obinya ewiase ya ti so obese onya de ope nko ade a de bia no ebe problems de ama because nanado danko akufo-addo no osisfo no enya de ope no nya ayu amafo bi man fans e bi so tia no obe ne den wontimi nkyire mu nkyire obia enye de ope na obinya teme metia me kasa enye de mepe na menye o obetimi aba me page no obedi matem enye de mepe na mepese menya o menya normal me de na metima ya fa ho wadi watem okọ obe ne enye de wope na obinya eti enye obia na bepe Mahama asem ene enye obia so na betan no de obinya adofo a omanfo be criticize no ne ade normal cool so otisa asem na se. Enti John Dramani Mahama na Republic of Ghana ye president no ona say ya ye ka say obetima ka say Ghana fo ye nkoda ye ni hu asem kan papa ni akwa akoda na enne edi ne si wo parliament a okupim wo parliament ya ye de krata akupim wo parliament o mo kire say enioma ebekoso wo eye 2025 yi no sikasem ho enioma ye minister de akoma parliament fo na eja wakokirichi ma kire o mo adekontia omodi saa no ma wo ye gu akwan mu for 2025 aye wo mu sise ya ye kasen na odi ko ene bi mu adi hu nkomo bi mu se ye omode miko polo mecha pa cha ne fu mecha ebi mu se ye omode ebi mu se enye omode ebi mu se budget we de kama ebi se enye kama eno na wo se wo ti ase chinchina atwan se obi nte wo wase ho na mafo mebena tiny nkofo nya problems no because on person obeti ase se enipa na wo kana asem no ono na nim ni nti wo so won de won tiase ana wo na nim se wo tiase normal tiase sa se wo nipa obia ne adwene da ne tirim wa asase ya yetisui ya nte sa asem na se ade bia be ntokwa be kometi ya me ka se me metima hunu se asofo wo Ghana me de me so wo nyina ya criminals me sana me de me ka no obi se wo mu de wo nye criminal ma no wo de ya da wo me de na metima ye no metimi ye na hwe okona e wo na ni anya ntena na obeko no akwatena ntena no akochirim aliko nti okoye quiz enye no ano normal enye bibia nti wo kan wo de me de na me kan nti wo de na wo kan enye chinchina atwanze wo se metiase eno na wo se ye nyina yetimi ti sansem na se enye chinchina atwan se wo se ye nyina ena ye tiase anase ye ti de obia e kan se page ye wo so yi obetimi aba comment section na ebia opem NDC asem obetimi so ba comment section on pendi normal adentina wo so won tiase so obi so won tiase sesen wo na ato data man unto data man enye ona ade ukoto phone man ona ato no phone eno so won NDC ona ato no phone so wo pen PP ona ato no phone so won pen PP open entidian kire wa adwene wo utire ne hia enye attack ne ntokwa enti papa ekopie mu wo parliament ena wo di nkomo ena ja wo kire eye 2025 ya ewo mu yi ade kropotia omodi agu akwam ebre Ghana fo ade shi nyina a me ka ho bi se Ghana no ekoye wa abrabu ma me ka ho bi o anko ya me ka ho de wo se wo ti ase nso no me mente Ghana kra no a me wa anuanom wo Ghana me wa nyankane akunafo bi wo Ghana edian bo namfofo wo Ghana enti se problem si a metimu bi edian fifiri ni bi beteme enti se bibi koso a menka se wontim wonti kulum temfa ho wontim no wo ye den be fa ho ye nyina wo pages obitimi ba osu ekona ba ye besre ye paache wa ebia bibi se na atome obetimi do page aboa me ya giska metana metaye sa no man meboa obi ho hu ni paneda obo anu watua sika ma ni pa no ofili wo pese wo ye wontimu beta de na to bi ha no sa na nipa sutie ndi papa ekopie mu parliament en wo din komo na budget ya wo dia bai wo kirekire mu na when wo kire mu wie na afanyo markets so kire say sa budget we de nya de bebo man Ghana obi so won tia se sa afanyo kasa na mse chairman nya abotre esu obi an na dwenkire on nete ne ho ene wo so wo de afanyo no de markets ene wo so wo te parliament ene wo kire say 2025 budget we no eni daachi de ma aye o man Ghana sa no wo ka wo de na wo trimu so wo se wo daachi ma Ghana kan no ne ntie tie komani yo die komani wo de na wo kan So we see a dachi o you are afa mechiapa. Would ye na a walk dachi no? Chile no money and Eye case close. Enye chinchina twan say afanyonte wase enye normal ti. We are say ya say ne be urubotu. Ene ka Ghana ke nyina be dane artificial intelligence AI. Ye nam ne nyina moko na obi ade na obi ade moko. Ade chi na obi be di abetia ne nyina di abetie. Se nyina etu se be fa first class ne nyina ko fa first class. There be entesa afanyon na e kan wo se wono die budget you know. Enya de be bo man Ghana. Etu wo he na be bo man Ghana kire wo wadwene. Ewo tirimu na no ye pese yetie na papa no ko pie mu parliament e na wo kire se eye taxes ahodo bia na Ghana fo mebire obi asu hu se o jack taxes ne doso ani ekoto chacha ni ska ni atie tax e na betting na yi levy na friends omo se ba ko bi kura example omo se ba ko bi example covid-19 very taxes mebire Ghana fo su ho enti eye ye papa yi atofo sin e market ene okwehihia Ghana fo e wo market ene obuso o mo se mo na mo didwa mo na mo kasa etie mo na mo de ba aban mu mo na mo nim system no ye de se yete office nya botai e de na ekoso wo market ena market woman e kire eye opanyini se taxes bi ekoso ye nje ho weni we ekoso ye nje ho se ni se ti yempe ena opanyini trotro gu nkrata so okonchi gu nkrata so sala me na beka no mina na be se o konchi gu nkrata so to panyini konchi gu nkrata so eno de koka ni programs a okwaye ho okodu parliament no de to omanim se me ne Ghana fo anante makodi nkomo mabuso omo 1 or 2 de ekoso ne de tie nyina Ghana fo se weni omo mpe nti se me ye finance minister na me be ye budget dia ne wo se me dwene Ghana fo no ho omo ntini ete ho omo ntini ya bie office ama ya tete ano ya gisika die iti Ghana for so omo mpede ene taxes weni mi ye free ho na edikonti a mi ye free ho no eye sei yentie de opanyini okai e wo parliament abro kopie mu e wo ho.
Part of the measures to improve domestic revenue mobilization and achieve our debt sustainability target over the medium term. Right, Honorable Speaker, despite our commitment to increase the non-oil tax revenue by 0.6%, we have programmed the following nuisance taxes for removal in line with our manifesto promise. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 10% withholding tax on winning from lottery, otherwise known as the betting tax. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the electronic transfer levy, e-levy, of 1%. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 10% withholding tax on betting. We will abolish the electronic transfer levy, e-levy, of 1%. We will abolish the emission levy, otherwise as in Wusie tax. We will abolish the VAT on motor vehicle insurance policy. Mr. Speaker, we will abolish the 1.5% withholding tax on unprocessed gold by small-scale miners. Mr. Speaker, the removal of these taxes will ease the burden on households and improve their disposable income. Right, Honorable Speaker, the removal of these taxes will ease the burden on households and improve their disposable incomes. In addition, it will support business growth and improve tax compliance. Mr. Speaker, Right, Honorable Speaker, the tax refund account has been abused in recent years. In the last 8 years, a study revealed that 29.1 billion Ghana cedis had accrued to the tax refund account, with only 12.5 billion Ghana cedis, representing 43% of the total accrued amount, being used for tax refund purposes. Mr. Speaker, the study also revealed that 16.6 billion Ghana cedis, representing 57% of the total amount accumulated in the tax refund account, was misapplied. Mr. Speaker, which is a total violation of the Revenue Administration Act, Act 915, and the Public Financial Management Act. Instructively, Mr. Speaker, there were virtually no tax refund arrests over the period. Mr. Speaker, and therefore, we are reducing the current tax refund ceiling by 2 percentage points from 6% to 4% of total revenue, as defined in Section 69 of the Revenue Administration Act, Act 915. Mr. Speaker, by reducing the ceiling on the tax refund from 6% to 4%, Right Honorable Speaker, we have saved the taxpayer 3.8 billion Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, this amount is enough to close the revenue shortfalls from the removal of the e-levy and the betting levy. Mr. Speaker, the e-levy would have accrued 1.9 billion Ghana cedis, and the betting tax would have accrued 180 million. The two put together is just above 2 billion Ghana cedis. By reducing the tax refund account from 6 to 4, it is enough to remove this tax, and a savings will be provided to take care of social interventions. Mr. Speaker, already we have saved 3.8 billion cedis for 2025 alone from one source, and this is enough to close the gap from the taxes we have removed today. Mr. Speaker, to address the concerns from well-meaning Ghanaians on how we are going to close the revenue shortfalls as a result of the removal of the selected taxes, the answer is that we have stopped the bleeding. We have stopped the bleeding. Mr. Speaker, accordingly, with this budget, we will amend the Revenue Administration Act 2016, Act 915. This measure will improve the tax revenue net of tax refund by 2%, representing 0.3% of GDP. Mr. Speaker, in line with government policy, the 2025 minimum wage recently negotiated with the National Tripartite Committee will be zero rated. This is consistent with our resolve to protect the poor and the vulnerable. Mr. Speaker, again, without increasing the levy, we will also review the Energy Sector Levies Act to consolidate the energy debt recovery, the Energy Sector Recovery Levy, and the Sanitation and Pollution Levy into one levy and use the proceeds to cater for energy sector shortfalls and service the inherited debt service obligation. Mr. Speaker, the reset has just begun. Right Honorable Speaker, the rest of the energy sector levies, including the Road Fund Levy, Energy Fund Levy, Price Stabilization and Recovery Levy, Public Lighting Levy, and National Electrification Levy, will remain to support the achievement of their intended objectives. Right Honorable Speaker, Ghana has not sufficiently capitalized on the benefits of its extractive sector to generate revenue to support development and diversification. We have failed to leverage our natural wealth by capturing its rent and channeling it towards productive infrastructure and human capital. Natural resource rent, which is the difference between the revenue of a commodity and the average cost of producing that commodity, is about 14% of GDP in the case of Ghana. However, Mr. Speaker, revenue from extractive industry is around 1.5% of GDP only. This is because, as a country, we have failed to fully capture the economic rent of our natural resources. Mr. Speaker, whereas global gold prices have seen some significant increase in recent times, Ghana has not been able to take full advantage of the development. Subsequently, Mr. Speaker, we are proposing to increase the growth and sustainability levy from 1% on gross production of mining companies to 3% to enable the nation to have its fair share of the windfall. Mr. Speaker, we also propose to extend the sunset clause to 2028. Mr. Speaker, we also propose to extend the sunset clause of the special import levy to 2028. Mr. Speaker, Ghanaians and this Honorable House will recall that road tolls on public roads were zero rated in the year 2022. Demand for construction and improvement of road infrastructure continues to increase, even as substantial arrests and claims in the road sector remains. Right, Honorable Speaker, while the annual average collection from road tolls have not been significant compared to its potential, the existing zero-rated policy for road tolls has increased the situation and dimmed the prospect of raising enough revenue from tolls to road construction and maintenance. Accordingly, government will work with the stakeholders, including the private sector, to roll out a technology-driven solution to reintroduce road tolls this year as part of the big push. Right, Honorable Speaker, we will also strengthen the legal and regulatory regime for non-tax revenue and enforce the framework to improve service delivery. This will be achieved through the introduction of an overarching non-tax revenue legislation, amendment of existing relevant laws, and the development of a national non-tax revenue strategy and policy. Mr. Speaker, as part of the reforms to improve other non-tax revenue streams, government will explore the operationalization of a regulatory framework for collection, management, and reporting of property rates consistent with our medium-term revenue strategy 2024 to 2027 and the Local Government Act. Mr. Speaker, we believe that the local authorities must be given the opportunity to collect their own property rates. Mr. Speaker, the current compliance rate for SMEs and personal income tax is below 30%, which is extremely low. Government will embark on an aggressive and sustained tax education campaign in the next 2 to 3 years to ensure improved compliance and tax revenue mobilization. We will also institute a quarterly dialogue on tax issues among the Ghana Revenue Authority, Ministry of Finance, and the business community to ensure that issues affecting businesses are addressed promptly. Mr. Speaker, I now take you to VAT reforms. Right, Honorable Speaker, we commit to the people of Ghana and this House, the business community, that we will undertake a comprehensive value-added tax reform this year. Mr. Speaker, with the aim to review the current distortions and cascading structure of the value-added tax regime. Ghana's effective rate, VAT rate, is about 22%. This is obviously because the 2.5% Get Fund levy, the National Health Insurance levy of 2.5%, and the COVID levy are well added to the base for a final determination of what is due for VAT purposes. Mr. Speaker, aside the high VAT rate, businesses are not permitted by law to claim their input VAT for NHIL, Get Fund, and COVID levy, compounding the burden on households. Right, Honorable Speaker, our VAT regime has been distorted and rendered inefficient. It combines both VAT and sales tax principles with a flat rate, standard rate, and levies. We have requested for technical assistance from the Fiscal Affairs Department of the IMF on VAT reforms. It is expected that the IMF mission will commence in April 2025. The recommendations from the Technical Assistance Mission are expected to inform our reform. Mr. Speaker, ahead of the IMF Technical Assistance Mission, I will inaugurate a VAT reform task force to hold broad consultation with key stakeholders for their input. Mr. Speaker, the parameters for VAT reform will be for them to complete this year. The Speaker, the parameters will include the following. 1, abolishing the COVID levy. Mr. Speaker, reversing the decoupling of Get Fund and NHIL VAT from VAT. Mr. Speaker, reducing the effective VAT rate for households and businesses. Reversing the VAT flat rate regime and upwardly adjusting the VAT registration threshold to exempt micro and small businesses from the collection as part of.
Okay, in some say ana ato Forson or the quartu dwa every idea abu amachapa or the quartu dwa na eja wo chire ni story mu a Ghana fo bi se eyezu ebi se eyazan ebi se eyezu ebi se eyazan dada no a sa na ebi mu chire ebi se de oka no so emu eda ho wati ase eti Ghana fo edi hu komo ewo amansantin tan question so a okopie mu Ghana ki se ya ye ka se ya amanfo aye hu videos ababonten a omo kire se NDC fo yi anase eye budget omo ye omo ye budget yi edema eye John Dramani Mahama sa na obi kire wu omo kire se omo ye John budget yi na omo de aka small scale fo no ahye aye omo nkoa na 2025 budget yi omo ye die ye Mahama enkunimdie ene ja omo yama Mahama nkwaje yam nkwanti no mbeye sa adwumadi amanfo so kire omo adwene papa no ato Forson yi okasai for almost 1 hour 40 minutes 1 hour 40 minutes when ye baby a Ghana for ni interest wo no taxes na ye twamu no enti na men no kwa babo but okasa almost 1 hour 40 minutes no this ankomo no ye ntie nsema hodo bi a Ghana for binum ditu dwa
NDC for no wana ye omosa no NDC angasa minim ni bakwa wa wo ye NDC jai obi bia wonim se NDC for wo ye omo no jai na ne ma nye normal wo mo party ni mu now finance minister obejan so be kan budget as the original campaign platform so mu we ya mo si mo deliver na mu bosi budget John Mahama ready 2012 coming na mu declaration we no po ye hu hwe eti wa be kan budget keka mu bosi se mo deliver mo di mu bo hye so na mo promise Ghana for say mo be we na mo aye mo promise Ghana for say mo be we na mo aye mo promise Ghana for God board na ya Ibrahim Mahama de no God board Ibrahim Mahama and the Tertiary no the CEO in disguise of God board Ibrahim Mahama say Ghana for mun ma me catch mo and the wetima allocated $270 million akwahye budget na ban ne kan nyina no baby a odi sika kwahye ye pa Ibrahim Mahama adwuma mu God board $270 million you know they akwahye na mo na me say God board no mo Ghana for mo nya hyedanti ase ye the opposite wa chane say small scale miners no gold omo boaboa no a omo de ko world market a omo ko ton na world market price no muntie ni ye de ajoma ni nwa Ibrahim ye ne say sa gold ni na wakota Ibrahim Mahama chi no afom gold board no de Ibrahim Mahama board the boy satoto ano sa me jamfimu ni ade eti de omo be ne say aban sika $270 million na wo allocate for gold board the other ba be ni tie mi ye onye ni ba wo akwatia wo your friend say mining areas no small scale miners no ukoye gold na wa betima ton wo de wa betima ton world market price no ye be block mu nyina apart from Ibrahim Mahama obi antimi fa gold enko abonten koton biom small scale miners munteni ye Newmont money are there omusuro kra nti oman form nsem ankom so na momom do mo nsem ba Ghana fo ahiafo ma ene nkrofo papa no ma ebro moja ni na omude abibi emom no small scale miners no gold no ena Ibrahim Mahama beda anu sisi eti omo bia kwan emane fa gold ni nkoton at world market price biem na mom odi be ko gold board na say 1 kilogram eh 50,000 let's say $70,000 na Ibrahim Mahama ton 50,000 tieniye small scale miners no munteniye say gold board do omo ya no obe block price no ho no da ko world market akoton world market price and or yen in such a way say we are one to go da obesa kwa muntiye godless na mo ba be say slaves small scale miners na mo be slaves am Ibrahim ama it good no say 70,000 US dollars per kilo na Ibrahim ama to no 50,000 US dollars won sem wona ya na kwa we you slave because Ibrahim president now or the world market no me kwaji 70,000 it's a 20,000 that 1 kilogram bias no muntie ni ye say a month otimi export 1 ton sa 1 ton mo ja say 1 ton of gold 1 kilogram bi obenya $20,000 times 1 ton and 1 ton here $20,000 times 1,000 hey everybody nyakopo ngrofo wetri mode me say obenya say month or export 1 ton 20,000 estimatedly 20,000 US dollars times 1,000 never call good board for CEOs ni bottom Ibrahim Mahama ne bra na ja sami je fi small boys o ma pepe $1 million dollars bi amom no me dey atum bottom na dey aka na kom ho eti yetimi apagya Ghana aban sika allocate $270 million akoto near the ababeto gold no ohia ni wo nsam yekodidi no budget na wie na maka chem no eti mo amopɛ summary of the budget no this budget was about gold board because aban sika na or budget sika majority ni ko gold board ho it the summary of the whole budget a yebetie na wie is simple and short. Bring your goods to Ibrahim Mahama's gold board, headed by Sami Jemfi. Then they will buy it at a cheaper price, block you from selling it on your own or taking it to the world market. They are going to enslave you and make sure that you bring the gold to them at gold board. And they are going to buy the gold at 80% price, lower than the market price. They are going to enslave all small-scale miners in Ghana. That is the summary of the 2025 first quarter budget. Eti Ghana for more money budget no. Mano, Etsy, ma summarize mamo. Na mo de sa bawe amokoto en me say, yeah kasa, time will tell. Na this in kwa no mu regi budget omo say omo promise ya omo deliver. We promised this and we've delivered just because budget na capture into we deliver. This just because once a Ghana for being so it is small yes almost ya adwin it is nkokwa adwin tatia na nkokwa adwin eti whatever is captured in the budget no instead of them to let you know say we capture budget also we deliver meanwhile a budget can mocha and capturing something in the budget doesn't mean say we deliver it say okopo ba na oyo bono the wanu mu nsema oken na nche say oba ware ase oba be hia wo ho aya mun ensua de na mun dwen kwachi na we mun susu na adamu na fe na mu besu ma no asi
okay eti we ensem a Ghana fo no bi enso editu dwa after see every budget no ewie ye no mo amunya akonya ehwe video ni bi no so betime de wadwen kire egu comment